Okay, close your eyes for a sec. Picture a Greek face. What pops into your head? For a lot of us, it's probably that image, brown skin, dark curly hair maybe, strong features, those intense olive eyes, like something straight off an ancient statue. Timeless, right? But then you actually go to Greece, and suddenly things get, well, a lot more interesting, complicated even. You might see kids with bright blonde hair running around Crete. You can meet older folks in the Peloponnese with freckles and, yeah, often blue eyes. Or villagers in Thessaly with really light eyes, fair skin. You see people, and you might notice features you'd maybe associate with Slavic countries or Turkey or the Levant. And every single one of them, Greek, proudly Greek. So that really makes you wonder, what happened? Why do Greek people look so different? Sometimes even, from one town to the next. How do we get from that statue image to this incredible variety? Well, that's exactly what we're diving into today. We want to unpack the fascinating reasons behind this diversity. We'll be looking at insights from researchers, geneticists, historians, using population genetics, anthropology, migration patterns.
It's going to be quite a journey into what looking Greek really means.
Yeah, and I think the first thing we need to get out there, maybe the hard truth for some, is that Greece isn't some kind of genetic time capsule.
Right, not frozen in time.
Exactly. The ancient Greeks, the ones who built the Parthenon, gave us philosophy. They didn't just disappear, of course not, but their gene pool.
Yeah.
It's been continuously shaped and reshaped for over 3,000 years.
So if it wasn't sealed off, what were those big forces? What made Greece such a crossroads?
That's the key word right there, crossroads. Greece has always been this incredible hub. Geographically, culturally, think about it. Invasions, seafaring empires launching from its shores, massive trade routes crossing through, diaspora communities returning, constant migration.
Wow, okay, so a lot going on.
A lot. It wasn't just passive, it was this constant layering. You have the Mycenaean and Dorian ancestors as a base, sure, but then came Byzantine influences, huge Slavic settlements moving down from the north. Centuries under the Ottomans, Albanian migrations, Egyptians, Venetians trading and ruling. Each interaction left its mark, sometimes subtly, sometimes quite dramatically.
So the Greek gene pool today is more like a mosaic.
Precisely. A layered mosaic, not a sealed vault with just one ancient pattern inside. It really shows centuries of human movement in that vital part of the world.
Okay, building on that idea of a mosaic, let's talk about maybe the most obvious thing, skin tone. We all think of that Mediterranean tan, bright and sun-kissed. And yeah, that's definitely there. But the actual range of skin tones is surprisingly broad.
It really is. There was a big dermatological study back in 2020, covered 12 different regions in Greece. It gave us some solid numbers. They found about 28% of Greeks had what's called Fitzpatrick type 2 skin, which is that's fair skin, burns easily, might tan eventually. Then the biggest group, 45%, was type 3, that sort of light olive tone, tans gradually. Another 24% were type 4, a deeper olive, rarely burns. And then just a small slice, about 3%, were either type I, very fair, always burns, or type V, and darker.
That's a huge spread. So that classic Mediterranean tan idea, it's kind of skewed by maybe, coastal areas, sun exposure?
Absolutely. It challenges that simple stereotype. You find a lot more people with lighter skin types, especially up in mountains like Epirus or Thessaly.
Right, less intense sun year-round perhaps.
Partly that, but it also links back to ancestry. These regions often had more influence from northern continental migrations. The genes persisted. Scientists see it in the alleles, the genetic markers. Southern Greeks often have higher frequencies of typical Mediterranean markers, influencing those olive tones. But northern Greeks, they show more Balkan, even Slavic markers, which nudges the skin tone lighter.
Fascinating. Okay, what about eyes? We tend to picture deep brown eyes, and mostly that's right, but not always.
Yeah, this is another area with more diversity than you might think. There's a database from the University of Athens from 2019 tracking physical traits. It shows, 67% brown eyes. That's the majority, no question. But then 19% have hazel or green eyes.
19%, okay.
And get this, 14% have blue or gray eyes.
Oh, wow, 14%. Blue eyes. In Greece, that's higher than I'd expect. Where do you tend to see that more?
You find higher rates in places like Thessaly and Epirus again, up in the northwest. Also western Crete and some Aegean islands like Lesbos, Chios.
And why? What's the history there?
It's layers again. You have ancient Indo-European migrations bringing those genes thousands of years ago. Then really significant Slavic settlements between the 6th and 8th centuries they integrated, bringing lighter eye colors. Later on, you had Venetian and Frankish rule in the Aegean from the 13th to 17th centuries, more mixing.
Right, centuries of interaction.
And even during Ottoman times, there was intermarriage with populations from northern and eastern areas. It all feeds into the mix. These traits didn't just vanish, they became part of the local populations, especially in older communities where people tended to marry within the group. That helps preserve recessive traits like blue eyes.
Okay, so skin, eyes.
Yeah.
What about hair? That dark curly stereotype is strong, but I guess that gets complicated too.
Oh, definitely. There was a National Hair Phenotype Survey in 2021 found that yes, 51% reported dark brown or black hair, still the majority, but 29% said medium or light brown, 13% dark blonde, and even 7% had reddish or auburn tones. That's quite a range beyond just dark.
Almost half aren't dark brown or black then, and I hear the variation is even more striking up north. Macedonia, Thrace.
That's exactly right. You see much more variation there. Lighter hair is more common, especially when people are younger. Genetically, it points back to that greater Slavic and Balkan influence in the north after Roman times. You find shared genetic markers between Greeks in those regions and, say, Bulgarians or Serbs. It reflects those historical movements.
And texture. Is the curly hair everywhere?
Well, around 21% reported naturally curly or tightly wavy hair. It's quite common in the Dodecanese Islands, other Aegean spots too. That often links to deeper Eastern Mediterranean roots. But then you look at Crete, and often the hair is noted as thicker, maybe coarser. Some researchers connect that back to ancient Minoan links, maybe even North African connections across the sea. Different influences again.
Let's talk faces. Bone structure. If you look at those classical statues, you expect maybe straight noses, sharp jaws. That perfect proportion.
Yeah, the statues give us one idea. But real Greeks, much more diverse. Anthropologists at the Hellenic Institute of Anatomy did a study in 2018. They found, okay, maybe 38% oval faces, but 27% were square or angular, 21% heart-shaped, 14% round, so definitely not just one shape.
It's funny how we hold on to that statue image, isn't it?
It is. The statues are ideals, symbols.
Not
Census data. What's amazing is how you see regional tendencies, though.
like what?
Well, you tend to see more prominent square jaws in some mainland areas. Think Sparta, central Greece maybe, fix that strong image.
Yeah.
But then narrower, longer faces might be more frequent up north or on the islands.
And softer features.
You see fuller cheeks, maybe softer profiles more often in coastal areas or down south. It varies.
What about the famous Greek nose? Is that a real thing?
Well, it's recognizable. Often described as strong, maybe aquiline, that slightly curved bridge. A 2017 study found something like that in about 48% of people, so nearly half.
Okay, so it's common but not universal.
Exactly. And even then, there's variation. Aegean Greeks might show features that hint more towards Middle Eastern connections. Northern Greeks might look more similar facially to their Balkan neighbors sometimes. It just reinforces that mosaic idea.
Right, so if we're talking physical build, height, how do Greeks stack up, literally, compared to other Europeans?
It's pretty interesting. According to recent data, Eurostat, WHO, from 2022, the average Greek man is about 177.1 centimeters. That's around 5'9", almost 5'10".
Yeah.
And the average Greek woman is 163.5 centimeters, so about 5'4".
Which puts them where?
Pretty near the European average, actually. Maybe slightly above for men, slightly below for women in some comparisons, but generally right around the middle. Might surprise people who picture towering ancient warriors.
Yeah, it does a bit. And I bet there are regional differences here, too.
Oh, for sure. You generally find taller averages up in Macedonia and Thrace. Shorter averages tend to be found more in the islands in the southern mainland.
Why is that? History?
Well,
Lifestyle?
a mix of things. Historically, Greeks, especially in rural or island communities, have often been described as, strong, stocky, muscular. Think about the landscape rugged mountains, the demands of farming, fishing, shepherding for centuries. It wasn't about being the tallest, it was about endurance, strength, hard labor. Warfare, too, required resilience.
So adaptation to the environment and lifestyle.
Exactly. You read accounts of, say, Cretan shepherds covering huge distances, or the sponge divers from Kalymnos needing incredible strength. Those pressures likely shaped the average build towards sturdiness and endurance over just height.
Okay, now, this could be a bit of a sensitive topic, right? The whole idea of looking Greek. If you ask different Greeks, you might get totally different answers. Some point to that classic Mediterranean look. Others might say it's about bone structure, maybe more Balkan. Some even argue modern Greeks look completely different from ancient ones. There's a real debate about it, sometimes quite heated.
There is. But it's crucial to say scientists really push back against any myth of like visual purity or genetic purity. It's just not reality. Major genetic studies like those in 2017 were very clear. Modern Greeks are a composite population. They have that Mycenaean and Minoan base, yes, but layered on top are waves of Indo-European, Anatolian, Balkan, Near Eastern influence.
So the science is pretty definitive then.
Very much so. The idea of one single, unchanging Greek look just doesn't hold up to the genetic evidence.
Yep.
Often that debate seems more about maybe cultural identity or anxiety than scientific fact. Clinging to an idealized past, maybe.
So the bottom line for our question is, modern Greeks look different because genetically they are different, a mix.
Precisely. They're a tapestry woven from all those threads over millennia.
Where this is key, they're still Greek. It's not like the original heritage was wiped out or diluted into nothing. It evolved.
Exactly. It's evolution adaptation, not dilution. That's a much healthier way to see it, I think.
It really changes how you think about it. It means being Greek isn't about matching some perfect statue. It's about carrying all that history in your face. Literally.
You can really see it come alive if you think about specific people. You know, the deep tan and weathered eyes of a fisherman in Santorini that speaks of sun, sea, maybe ancient trade routes. Or you see a kid with bright red hair dancing at a festival up in Drama that hints at different migrations, different paths converging.
Yeah.
Or think about a student in Athens whose family came from Pontus, maybe wearing a hijab, speaking fluent Greek with that Pontic accent that's a whole history of diaspora and return. Or a Cypriot grandfather whose features echo the Levant that reflects trade and connection, not barriers.
It's incredible when you put it like that. These faces are like living history books, memory of empires, invasions, resilience.
Yeah.
All there.
And that leads to something else that makes Greece so fascinating. It's not just the diversity within it, but its position. It's always been this sort of cultural filter, a bridge between East and West.
I mean, genetically or visually?
Both, really. Greece occupies this unique, sometimes ambiguous space. It feels Balkan, but it's not really Slavic in the same way. It's Mediterranean, but distinct from, say, North Africa or the Arab world. It's European, but maybe not typically Western European.
Yeah.
It has Middle Eastern influences, but it remains distinctly Greek.
That ambiguity.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can see that. Balkan, but not Slavic. Mediterranean, but not Arab.
Right. And that ambiguity, it might frustrate people looking for neat boxes, for purity.
Sure.
But for scientists, for storytellers, it's incredibly exciting because few places show the sheer, beautiful chaos of human history, the mixing and moving so clearly etched onto the faces of its people. It's a powerful testament to connection, migration, survival.
So wrapping this all up, circling back, what makes Greek people look so diverse? It sounds like it's everything. Ocean winds, mountain borders, gods and invaders, traders and shepherds, millennia of movement, of myth, of mixing. It's all there. The land, the history, the people all woven together.
Which means, really, to look Greek, it isn't about fitting one image. It's maybe looking like a story that's still being written, a narrative that keeps unfolding.
That's a great way to put it. A story still being written. So maybe the takeaway for everyone listening is, next time you meet someone who says, I'm Greek, don't look for a stereotype. Look closer. Try and see the story. You might catch a glimpse of Spartan strength in their jawline, or maybe something of Byzantine mystery in their eyes, or see the resilience of Crete in the way their hair falls. Just embrace the mosaic, because ultimately being Greek isn't about fitting some ancient mold. It's about carrying this incredible living mosaic inside you, one that stretches all the way from Homer right down to today. And that, I think we can agree, is a story worth paying attention to.